family. So we want to bring in another guest and highlight a really, really amazing program that is a few years in operation, but it is growing fast. And I just am thrilled to welcome Christine Phillips, who is nice to see you again, Christine.
Good to see you.
Christine is the executive director and co-founder of Friends of Aine in Manchester. And I'll start this off so that Christine doesn't have to give full description, but you provide bereavement support, services, and resources to children and families who have suffered the loss of a loved one. And thanks to the generosity of donors, there's no cost to families. So could you talk to us a little bit about, as a founder, why you founded Friends of Aine?
Sure. Thank you, first of all, for having me.
It's great to see you.
Yeah, thanks. So we started Friends of Aine right around 2013 when David and I lost our daughter, Anya, in 2010. She was 8 years old and misdiagnosed. And we found through that time that there were support services for David and I as adults, but there was limited resources available for support for our daughter, Bella. Bella had lost her big sister, and she needed a place to go and be with other kids that she could relate to that felt the same way as her. So we got involved as a fundraising organization for a little while, helping other groups try to fund some bereavement programs, and realized the need was huge, and went out on our own in 2018 in order to provide peer-to-peer support services to grieving children and families in the state.
The realities of experiencing a loss like that as a child, we as parents, we want to do everything we can to help them. But there are sometimes when we can't reach certain places in a situation like that with a child, and giving them the opportunity, and what you've done and what you've created is a way to reach places that even the most loving parent sometimes can't reach. And not only is that a hard realization for all parents, but you stepping forward and doing something about that is beautiful. It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We, our kids come in with all kinds of adverse childhood experiences. Grief is the reason they come through our doors, and we are honored to be with these kids and to hear their stories. The idea is that they come into a home that feels safe and is compassionate, where there are other adults that are safe in their environment. But the beauty of it is kids helping kids.
Right.
They're in peer groups, and they're telling each other what they do when they feel a certain way. They're telling one another, they're teaching compassion to each other and trying to help the other kids.
What does that do when you watch that? Because I've had the honor of touring your home, and it's beautiful. It's on the west side of Manchester. It's just gorgeous, and you've got it structured so beautifully to have that comfortable home environment where the kids can just be kids. But what do you see when they start to share their stories with one another and recognize that they're not the only ones that are struggling in this moment in their lives? What do you see?
So grief is different, right? It's unique for every child that comes through the door, for every adult. And we want to recognize that uniqueness in these kids. It's also, it's visceral. You can see grief.
Sure.
They have slumped shoulders.
Yeah.
They have their fingers in their mouth. They won't look at you. They don't want to leave their mom or their dad or their caregiver's side. We have a lot of grandparents that are also bringing kids to our programs. And to see that, it's heartbreaking. We know why they're there. And what we end up seeing later on is 2 or 3 weeks into our program, they're saying, "See you later," and they're running upstairs to their room.
Right.
And
That's awesome.
and the shoulders are back, and the head is higher, and they're beautiful.
And grief is difficult to predict, I would imagine. I don't know if there must not be a timetable for it, because grief can show itself months, even years later than the situation that caused it, right?
Yeah, it's a great point, because we serve children ages 4 through 18.
Right.
And we put them into support groups of like ages so that they can identify with each other. But each developmental stage is another time frame for grief.
Right.
So if you're 4, 5, 6, your grief looks different from when you're going to be a teenager. And it's really, really sad to think about that, because that means a child goes through the grief process on a whole new level with each developmental stage.
Sure.
They re-grieve. And it can become very, very intense, because developmentally, they've learned more.
Right.
They have more questions, and they have more feelings to deal with.
It's smart to divide it up by age like that, because that sort of emotional and intellectual development, it really does, it opens doors to more complicated emotions, and it's great to put that together. I have another question.
Sure.
In having met you and your husband before, there are probably a lot of families that have not experienced something like this. And one of the things that really resonated with me that your husband talked about was that difference between saying to someone who might be grieving, "Oh, I know how you feel," versus "I get it." That sort of almost a dismissive, "Yeah, I know," or "No, I get where you're at right now." And it seems like a slight difference, but it seems such an important distinction.
It's incredibly important to recognize the difference in the language, because there are certain ways to speak with grieving people. And to walk into a room where somebody has experienced the same thing you have, whether they've lost a child or a parent or a best friend, a sibling, sorry, I lost my train of thought. They
Are defensive?
They get defensive, thank you, without the right language. But
Sure.
to feel that, it's a feeling.
Yep.
It's not even, when you step into a room of people who get it, you know they get it. They don't
Right.
have to say anything to you.
It
that
has
would
to be, the
necessarily
first
not feel.
response to "I know how you feel" has to be "you don't."
No, you don't. Exactly.
You don't.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm listening to
Don't
you.
know.
I'm listening to you speak, and I'm listening to you talk about what you do. And what strikes me is you talked about peer to peer. These are kids helping kids.
Yep.
We are living in we have created a generation and are living in a time when kids, I hope, are more in tune with that. Like I see my kids when they were in school, you notice that kids really care about other kids and are much more willing to help them because we're teaching them to. And so that not only helps them now, that will help their kids, because they will teach their kids, and right on down the line. And the benefit from a program like yours is going to spread out like the wings. I don't mean to be corny, but I mean spread out like the wings
exactly
of a butterfly.
right. You bet.
And every generation is going to be better.
A dragonfly.
Or dragonfly. Yeah, but I mean, it will last for generations.
Yeah.
And that's something that's a gift you can't put a price on.
No doubt.
Right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's
you.
an amazing work. It's important work.
Yeah.
This is part of mental health and well-being for children.
Right.
And the sooner we can start working with them, the better. It's a preventative
Sure.
practice.
Yeah, right.
And the beauty, again, is the peer-to-peer piece, right? We're not clinicians and therapists. We use best practice, and we rely on the expertise of the experts.
Sure.
And make sure our kids are safe and supported in all the ways that we can.
Yeah.
It really is an amazing place to be. They're beautiful.
It's a beautiful legacy for your
is.
daughter.
Thank you.
That's great.
It is
Beautiful
a
legacy.
legacy for our daughter, for Anya, and it is because of our daughter Bella,
Yep.
who is.
How's she doing?
She's doing lovely. She's a 17-year-old now. She was almost 6 when her sister died. And Bella has worked on teen programs for us, and we've worked with the University of Chicago on a teen virtual program that Bella was a co-facilitator for
Sure.
and helped in that research. So she's doing great.
All right, so before we let you go, two
Yeah.
quick questions. First and foremost, tell us about the second annual Gathering in Remembrance, which is Sunday, June 12th
Thank
at
you.
Northeast Delta in Manchester.
Yes, so we started quite a while ago with a very small gathering, when we call it a butterfly release.
It's a
And
butterfly.
You're
I
just-
know,
you're
you did, you
spot
brought
on.
it. That was so good,
Just
you knew.
spot on.
So the butterfly is very symbolic,
Sure.
obviously. But these are real live butterflies, and we keep them dormant up until the event, and then we have the children come down onto Fisher. We do this at Fisher Cat Stadium. Children come down onto the field and they release the butterflies.
So great.
It's beautiful.
I'm sure.
But we're doing this on Sunday from 3 to 5. It is a community-wide event. We've asked our community partners to come in. and set up tables and be able to show and talk about what they do, right? This is a collaborative effort for our kids. We have got to all come together and figure out how we're going to help them. Their mental health is at stake here.
So great. My only other question is, so Friends of Aine, and thank you so much for sharing your story and your family story and turning this into something that really pays it forward to others. But besides the funds that we're raising, what do you need?
Wow.
Not to stump you.
Yeah, no, I know what I want to say, but I'm not sure if it's politically correct, so I won't. We need funding for our kids. Bottom line, we are free services. We don't charge anything to our families, and we feel that that's really, really important. And we don't want to change that. So we rely heavily on individual donors and corporate sponsors in our events in order to continue to offer free services. So, I liked what you said earlier, Greg, about, the $25, $10, $25, $50. Those numbers add up, and they mean so much to us.
Sure.
It isn't the big dollars all the time. It's a lot of the little dollars that really help us, too. So
Right.
I just want people to understand that, because everything that's being done in the next 24 hours helps everything.
It's wonderful.
For somebody,
Phillips.
that maybe doesn't have a lot of money, that $5 to $10 is a big deal.
It
and
is.
to know that it's being used, not only is it being accepted by organizations like Christine's, it's being compounded on.
Yeah.
With the
Right.
bonus money and the matches and stuff, and it really does make a difference. Don't think that any amount is too little.
Exactly.
You're doing impactful work that will last for generations.
Yeah,
Really,
it's a
seriously.
privilege. It really is.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Christine
Thank you.
Phillips, Friends of
Yeah.
Aine, you are a bright light. Thank you so much
You
for
guys
shining
are
on us for a little while.
Thank you.
It's
You
wonderful.
guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
See
it.
ya.
And best of luck.
Thank you.
So again, such incredible work and just honorable efforts that are happening
Yeah.
every day, some of which we know about in high profile and others that we don't. So again, on Christine's behalf, just as a quick reminder of what she was talking about, this is a great thing. Go check it out. A second annual gathering in remembrance. It's Sunday, June 12th at Northeast Delta Dental, right there in downtown Manchester. And there are a number of different services and programs that are all going to be there and on display as well. So it's really a great opportunity for families that might be going through something like this to check out and find those available resources in one place.
And I just love that we're teaching our kids to be more caring.
Yeah.
And not that
absolutely.
not that we didn't grow up caring, but to be active in that caring and to step out of our own shells and think about how we impact others and how we can impact others' lives by doing simple things, whether or not it's donating tonight or actually calling to volunteer at any one of these organizations.
You bet.
It will stretch over generations and generations and make a difference in future lives too, which is just,
no doubt.
it's beautiful. It's a great, beautiful legacy to Aine.
Yeah.
So that's great work.
No shortage.